Hey, morning, guys, and welcome to the first installment of Answering Your Questions with Mr. Leddy. So, um, just a little credits because I went and put some time into that. All right, so a few days ago, I asked you guys to submit some questions. The only requirement was that it was going to be school safe, so something that I can post. And some of you have done that. Some of you submitted joke questions, which is fine. Um, some submitted real questions, which is fine too. So I'm going to answer those as best I can. All right, so let's just get into it. We're going to go through about 10 questions today. And if you guys like this, then we'll continue to do more of them once a week. All right, so it is question time. So, question number one. Are we going back to school anytime soon? From Danielle in room 128. The short answer is I don't know. I believe that we will be back before the end of the year, but I don't have that information. Basically, I find out pretty shortly before you guys find out. I will tell you this, knowing that the governor has extended the social distancing and shelter in place order until April 30th. I wouldn't be surprised if we're extended until April 30th, past the April 15th deadline. But I know that the school and most schools are going to approach it on a 2-week basis. So every 2 weeks they're going to look at. All right. I really don't think they're expecting this virus to peak for another week and a half or so. So that could be a problem that's going to extend us. But I wouldn't be the least bit surprised for us to be out till April 30th and maybe until the middle of May. Would be my guess. And again, purely a guess, just my opinion. Has nothing to do with any information that I've gotten. All right. So let's see. Let's move on to question number two. If you could be any celebrity, who would it be and why? From a fan in room 122. Okay. This question actually came up amongst some of the teachers. We were just fooling around and, discussing this, and I'm going to give you the same answer I gave them. Hands down, the answer is Ryan Reynolds. So if I could be Ryan Reynolds, a couple of reasons. Number one, I'd get to be Deadpool, and I love Deadpool, so that would just be a lot of fun. He is also very sarcastic, and I maybe have been called sarcastic from time to time. And he's married to Blake Lively, so who's not going to be happy with that? So there you go. So that's my answer. Maybe some of you guys can post your answers, and I'll put that in the next video as to what celebrities you would be and why. All right, moving on. Question number three. Who is this? From Nate. Yeah. Well, Nate, it was pretty obvious. You were in my classroom, so I assumed you knew who I was. But this might explain a few things. So yeah, we'll just move on with that. Nate, everybody. All right. Question number four. How long do you think we are going to be quarantined for? And if school is canceled for the year, how are we going to take the regents? Well, let's start with the first part. Kind of looking back at the previous answer I gave, if I had to guess, I'm going to say somewhere around mid-May. Would be just, again, a ballpark guess for me. But again, the school will look at it every 2 weeks. They're going to make the best decision for everybody's health first and foremost. Really, the regents, tackling a little bit of the second part of the question, is secondary to everyone's health. It's something we can figure out, and there are many different ways they can do that. That will be guidance from the state. I know that the school has not been told anything yet with that as to what we're going to do. And again, that will be a statewide decision, not a North Babylon decision. But there are many things they can do. But I think they're holding out hope that we will be back in school so that the regents won't be canceled. It's not too bad for you ninth graders. The issue comes into the seniors who need to pass a regents or two to graduate. They could be kind of stuck, and that's what they're really focusing on, not the ninth graders. I mean, if push came to shove, they could just push your regents out until January, and then have you guys take review classes next year just to keep your mind fresh for earth science and for math. If that was the absolute worst case scenario, they could do something like that, and that wouldn't be out of the ordinary. So yeah, and so the short answer is, if they cancel school, Freddie, that the regents would be canceled as well. All right, they're not going to make that decision to cancel school without having already decided what to do with the regents. All right, but hold on. Just watch. Usually, News 12 is pretty good. Governor Cuomo will give an update once a day, and it's usually somewhere around 11 in the morning. And he's pretty straightforward with what he's saying. He is not making it a real political issue. He's just kind of laying it out there as to this is what's going on when it comes to school and things like that. All right, moving on. Question number 5. If you could be any superhero, who would it be and why? From a mysterious Mr. Wayne in 122. All right, so I'm going to go into this a little bit. Truth be told, I'm a little bit of a superhero geek. Always have been, since I was a little kid. So, I'll kind of go into this. The obvious answer would be Superman, but I'm not going to pick Superman. He has basically every superpower you can think of, and that's, a bit much. The super geek answer would be a character that I'm sure nobody here is really familiar with. His name is Nexus, and he was around in the 80s and 90s when I was growing up. And what I liked about him is that he got these powers, and in exchange, he had to go and kill serial killers. So he would get dreams of the victims of the killers, and then he would have to hunt down that serial killer. So it was kind of dark, but it was really good. If I go with a more mainstream answer, I'm going to have to say the Flash, because I've loved the Flash since I was a kid. He's probably my favorite superhero, and yeah. So there you go, the Flash. Okay, question 6. Let me start doing my work, yo, for real, Mike. Well, this kind of ranks up there with Nate. Yeah, some people maybe took a 2.5 week nap. Maybe others didn't and did their work. So yeah, maybe it is a good idea for you to start doing your work, yo. In all seriousness, the quarter ends soon, like on the 8th. So you really need to focus on any work. Specifically, I would be focused on the labs and stuff that we had prior to the 13th. The 13th being the last day that we were actually in class. I have a lot of those labs here, and I can scan them and send them out to you. So if you have a lab that's incomplete and it's on gradebook, gradebook is incomplete, message me. I will scan it and send it out to you, or at the very least, I have a blank copy of the lab that I'll be able to scan and send out to you. All right. Hopefully that helps. All right. Number 7. We're supposed to go back April 15th, I think, but I doubt that. John in room 128. Yeah. So, as I said earlier, the governor's extended the social distancing and shelter in place until April 30th. We haven't gotten close to that April 15th deadline yet. I would expect that the governor is probably going to make some sort of announcement as we get a little closer. I'm assuming somewhere around the 11th or 12th, something like that. And I would not be the least bit surprised to see us extended out until April 30th. And again, I think he's going to take it every 2 weeks. All right. All right. When will report cards for the third quarter be released? And will this virus affect grades or anything else on the report cards? So, the first part, as far as I have heard, the quarter is still ending on the 8th. So, nothing is changing with that. I do know that administration has been looking at uh, grading and what's going on with that and how we're handling the distance learning aspect of everything. Um, but I don't have a firm answer on that yet either. Okay. But as far as I know, and I'm working under the assumption that the quarter ends on the 8th, and that is how I'm tackling your grades. Will the virus affect the grades? Um, well, no, concerned in room 121 because viruses affect people. So we don't have to really worry about that. Um, Now, on a more serious note, again, they're looking at grading as to how we're going to handle this. Don't know the answer to that. Um, I would assume that everything is going to be graded as normal. You can't go wrong that way because I can't see them making the grading harder. So if we assume everything is going to be graded as normal, which would be the hardest way it could be graded, anything else they do is just going to be better or easier as far as the grades go. So you won't be disappointed if it's made easier. All right, so hopefully that helps. A couple more questions and then we are done. Number 9, uh, Frankie. And I'm sure you all know Frankie. He put this in thinking I wasn't going to have an answer for him. But oh, he is wrong. So, what are the steps to the Easter egg on Der Eisendrache? 6 years of German paying off right there. Thank you very much. So, I'm going to put up the next slide and it's going to list 15 steps for you, Frankie. You could pause the video so you can write them down. And if you need a little bit of clarification on those steps, you can let me know and I'll help you out. All right, for everybody else, I'm only going to put the slide up for a few seconds so that Frankie has a chance to pause it, and then we'll move on. If you are also interested in this, as Frankie is, this has to do with Black Ops 3. So here we go. Here are your 15 steps, Frankie. Let me move my picture out of the way because that handles the 15th step. Okay. So there you go. Again, Frankie, happy to help you out. If you need any clarification on any of those steps, you just let me know. Okay. Question number 10 and our final question for today. What movie do you have to watch over and over whenever you see that it's on? This is Nicole in room 122. Uh, there are a number of movies that fall into this category, but I'm going to pick my absolute favorite. And if you have never watched this movie, you really should. It is very quotable. And if you ask Mr. Murphy or you check it with Mr. Murphy or myself, you will see that we are constantly quoting this movie to each other. It's just one of those movies, and the movie is The Princess Bride. Okay, Princess Bride. It's an absolutely outstanding movie, filled with many, 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 many stupid things. And if you haven't seen it, really do yourself the service of watching it. Um, and if you're watching it, your parents see that you're watching it, your parents will probably stop and watch it with you. But yes, if I'm flipping through the channels and I see it, I stop every single time. And it's really a very good movie. All right, so that should wrap up everything we have. Oh, it's not a book. Forgot to change that. All right, so anyway, I hope you guys enjoyed this. I hope I answered some of your questions and others. And then, as I said, we can do this again next week if it's something you enjoyed. And I will, as I said, answer anything as long as it's school appropriate. So I have to be able to post it. All right. And that's it. So be safe, guys. And I will talk to you soon. Bye.